So the cause, he's changed the cause. Where he was not having a job, he has a job. And this job has changed everything. So he can see that, and he clearly knows how it was the problem, how it was solved as a problem, and how it ceased. Now there is no more problem. End of suffering. Here a monk observes the end of suffering, and he knows this is the end of suffering as it is. First he observed the suffering, then he knew the cause of the suffering. Now the third noble truth is the end of the suffering. He knows how the end of suffering has appeared. He knows in what way the end of suffering has appeared, developed, and then ceased. He knows that. When the thing was formed, he knew. When the cause for forming, he knew. He also knew how that forming was ceased to form. He knew that there was an end of suffering. So namaste and good morning. So we are back on our Saturday special session for the teachings of or studying the Satipatthana Sutta with me. So this is the third episode, and in the last few episodes we have covered the initial chapters of understanding what are the foundations of Sati. So continuing from there, and we'll do a quick recap also on the topic that we have covered. Now this is the Satipatthana Sutta, also called as the Satipatthana Smriti Prasthan Sutra, but in Pali it is called as Satipatthana Sutta, and we keep it like that. And Dr. Lim, Dhyanacharya Nagajiv, has actually translated that into English, and we have tried. He has made sure that he kept it as it is without adding any commentary. So it's a very simple translation. And that simplicity gives us the ability to understand it as per our understanding. So we are not forced to understand as per the author or the one who spoke, but gives us the ability to understand as per our understanding. And so any sutra that we start, we always know that it starts with, "Thus have I heard." We should now pay full attention to this last and final episode of studying the Satipatthana Sutta with me. And as I said, authentic sutta starts with, "Thus have I heard." And that's how even the Satipatthana Sutta starts with. And let me go through the first few chapters of this sutra, because they are already there in the first two episodes. But just to do a quick recap as we go to the final phase of this sutra teaching or studying. So let's begin. The first chapter, "Thus have I heard." Once Bhagwan in Kuru, at the market town of Kamasadama, there Bhagwan addressed the monks. So we can understand it is the place where this whole event is being taken place is in the north of India, a place called Kamasadama, where Bhagwan means definitely the Buddha himself. He is there in the market town, because that was a busy market town. That's where this sutra is being taught. So understand, the sutra teaching is not meant for the people who have left everything and in the jungles it's being taught. This is a very, very different approach, where the teaching is being taught in the marketplace. Okay. And the Buddha has already addressed everybody who is there in the marketplace as the monks. Now, the monk is one who let goes of all his things and, is able to give time to himself. When he's addressing the monks, he's already addressing in the marketplace to those people who have let go of their business, responsibilities for that moment to listen to the Bhagwan. And at that moment also, the person becomes a monk because he has already let go. And there he's listening. So the Bhagwan is addressing the monks. And the monks say, "Venerable Sir," responded the monks to the Bhagwan. And the Bhagwan, that is the Buddha, he says, "There is only one way, O monks, for the purification of beings." This sets the stage of the whole sutra. Here it says there is only one way for the purification of beings. So this sutra is to help us understand that this is the only way to purify ourselves. There is no other way. For total bypassing of grief and removing all pains and discontent. So it's very much understandable that all the grief, all the pain, all the discontent are born because of impurities of the beings. Now, if we can purify the beings, all this suffering just goes away. All the pain goes away. All the discontent goes away. To attain the right path and to witness the Nibbāna. When a person becomes pure, he automatically walks on the right path. When he becomes pure, he automatically attains the Nibbāna. Namely, the four foundations of Sati. That means he's talking about Sati means Smriti. He's talking about there are the four foundations of this remembrance or Sati or Smriti. Which four? Right here, O monks. A monk observes the body as just the body. First foundation. He observes the body as just the body. Focus, fully aware. Focus, you develop focus about awareness of this body by the practice of Sunya, because that's what Sunya is all about. So when you practice 9 to 0, you practice 29 to 0, you practice 99 to 0, you practice the double count, you practice the no count, you practice the scanning. Basically, you're developing focus and insight. That's what we call samatha and vipassana. So when the only way is what? Out of the four foundation, one is the body. And the monk observes the body as just the body. How? One, with focus. So you need to practice Sunya to develop the ability to focus on the body. Fully aware. Okay? Observance. That's what you do in Vipassana. You become aware of the body. You become aware of the breath. And you have observance. You start observing the breath. You observe the body. Okay? Having removed the greed. Naturally, when you sit down and you practice Sunya, you are removing all type of greed because you are now stabling the mind. And that itself, that samatha, automatically removes the greed and sorrow from this world. Why? Because you are getting purified. With the practice of Sunya, your mind is getting purified. It's getting cleaned. It's getting washed. And with that, your greed of this world, your sorrow from this world is going away. You are being free from that. He observes the feeling as just the feeling. Again, he observes the body, he observes the feeling. Now, feeling also he is observing through focus, fully aware, observance, having removed the greed and sorrow from this world. Continuing that, he says he observes the mind as just the mind, full focus, fully aware, observance, having removed the greed and sorrow from this world. Step by step, he is purifying the body. Once the body is purified, all the karmic connections with the body, all the issues with the body, maybe it's a disease, maybe it's a sickness, maybe it's a genetically carried condition that you have been inherited with, all these automatically start getting purified. And once your body gets purified, your sickness and illness starts going away. That's the experience of practice of Sunya. And many people who are practicing for last few years have seen that magical effect of Sunya. Same is with the feeling. Suddenly a person knows his feelings, his emotional knots start opening up. All the things start happening. People sit and when they practice, they have tears in their eyes. They have these feelings that come in. All the turbulence is gone. He's cleansed of all the feelings, feelings of guilt, feelings of pride. All the feelings are washed away and he becomes a pure being. He observes the mind as just the mind. The mind which was getting wandering here and there is now able to focus. He's able to see through clearly with the help of his mind. Okay? And he observes the Dhamma as just the Dhamma. He looks at this phenomenal world. He looks at this nature and he observes that this is the nature and this is the phenomena. This is the Dharma of things. So he starts seeing something beyond the physical entity, beyond the illusion that is being portrayed by things. Like a butterfly, when you see it opens its wings, and when you see those two big dots, you think they are eyes, because that's what the camouflage, the butterfly does for the eagle up there, so that the eagle doesn't pounce on it. But that is an illusion. But imagine the eagle can see through that illusion, and he knows that this is just the butterfly who has faked up those eyes, and it is not a big creature. He is definitely going to pounce and pick it up. Similarly, when we get the eyes of Vipassana, we cultivate the ability to see through clearly. We can see through illusion of things. We can see their true nature, their true dharma. And once you get to see the true nature and dharma of things, we can accommodate ourselves well. And then that automatically helps us to purify ourselves, purify our thought, our body, our feelings, and we are then out of all kind of suffering. So exactly like that, focus, fully aware, observance, having removed the greed and sorrow from this world. So yes, we went through the last few episodes, covered up how the body has to be observed as just the body. We talked about the breathing. You can go into the detail of that. We talked about the physical body, the postures, how you have to maintain your postures of the body. Then we talked about the activities of the body, how you, what your body is doing. You should observe that. Then we talked about scanning the body, which we do in the green belt. Technically, you scan the body. That's again the way you observe the body. Then we talked about the elements that actually combine and make the body, the 5 elements, the Pancha Mahabhutas that we call, the earth, the water, the fire, the space, the ether, all those things together. Okay, then we talked about the corpse, the dead body in 9 decaying stages, because only through, you get something. If you want to know how it is made up, like a small kid, if you give him a toy, the excitement of knowing what this toy is, how does it work, he just rips it apart into different parts, and then he breaks up the toy. Similarly, if you want to know how this body is made up of, you have to know the way it deteriorates, decays. So dead body, we saw how a dead body is eaten by the animals. So it is just taken into pieces by animals. Then we saw the bones with the flesh and bones. Then we saw bone with blood without flesh. Then we saw bone without flesh and blood. We saw the scattered bones that were lying there. Bone turned white, dusty heaps of bone, rotten to powder. We saw that this physical body that we hold on to and consider ourselves as me is one day just going to become nothing but rotten white powder. And we saw that through this particular teaching in the Satipatthana. This is a very, very important thing. Scary, but that is truth. And truth is said to be blissful, not something that scares you. Truth is always going to give you happiness. That is why in Indian philosophy, we call it Sat Chit Anand, means something that is truth. Okay, that you are aware of will always give you the anand, the bliss, the feeling of happiness. Okay, then we went to the second foundation. After the body, we went to the feelings. Okay, and we understood how to observe the feeling, the good feeling, the bad feeling, the feeling that causes us different kinds of thoughts to come in. So feeling we observed, we saw the feelings through sensations, because we are made out of the 6 sensory organs. We talked about the 6 senses and the feelings attached to that. And we saw how to observe the feeling. Then we also studied about the mind and how the mind has this monkey nature of wandering here and there. And how do you observe the mind? Like when you practice Sunya, you actually know that when your mind is given a task to complete a 9 to 0 or a 29 to 0 to observe the breath, it is not doing that. So you know that the mind is not listening. It's wandering here and there. That helps you to identify that the mind is not focused. And the one who has to get the mind to focus is you. You have to practice. And then you develop the mind to have the skill to focus, to see clearly. Okay, so that's what we studied on the mind. Then we have to now go, we also last time studied the Dhamma, the 4th foundation, the nature of things. Okay, the phenomenal world that we live in is basically called the physical world. Okay, because it is governed by the law of physics governs this. Okay, gravity pulls things towards itself, and that is why everything is still there. Even though the earth is rotating, we are not just being thrown out into the universe, because there is a force, there is a law that works to keep everything together. So this physical world is governed by the physical law, the physics, The chemical world is governed by the chemical law. That's chemistry. And this biological world is governed by the biological law. This is the law of the botany and the zoology and the biology itself. So everything, if you look at this, is technically science, and science is nothing but a thing that is called, because there is should be a cause and an effect. Then only we call it science. So when you look at this world, is a world that is not just by chance. There is a law that works, and that's what we're talking about, Dhamma. And we last time we saw what actually does not help us or to understand the Dharma, the true nature of things. Why don't we see that? Is because of the 5 hindrances. We saw how our what do you say, sensual desires, where we are these organs that we have, the sensual organs, the senses, they distract us. Their desires elude us from seeing the real truth. We saw how ill will within us, a concept of hating somebody, jealousy and all those things, they delude us from seeing what the reality is. We saw how sloth and drowsiness can actually take away from us the reality that we need to see as it is. Then restless and anxiety. And finally, we also saw how doubt can become an hindrance in our understanding and seeing things clearly. So, moving on, we also now, today, we're going to finish up the last few things about Dhamma. The 5 skandhas we'll talk about the 6 senses. We're going to talk about the 7 factors of enlightenment, and we are going to talk about the four noble truths. Now, why is this important? Why this becomes the foundation of practice? Because when you practice Shunya, as you move, where you're not going to count, you finish your scanning of the body, and you move towards the blue belt and onwards, you will need to contemplate. You need to observe this phenomenal world as it is. And for that, you need to understand what this world is. So there are certain laws. You want to learn maths, you need to know what addition is. You need to know what subtraction is. You need to know what division is. Only then will you be able to do something in mathematics. When you want to understand this phenomenal world, you need to understand the Dhamma of this world. And that is why when you study this, the 5 hindrances, when you study the 5 skandhas, you actually are trying to understand the principles on which this whole world governs itself. Once you can see through that, you purify yourself. You purify yourself with all the concepts that have all deluded you from seeing reality as it is. Because this world is meant for you to experience happiness, not sorrow. This world is meant for you to experience and achieve prosperity, not poverty, not suffering. When we see through this and use these laws, and when we understand that, we definitely can outperform our own self. And that's exactly what is the aim of Shunya, peace and prosperity. And that's what we are going to learn. So 5 skandhas. Going to 5 skandhas, we are going to, okay, here I have. So let's go to the sutra. It says, furthermore, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing in 5 skandhas. And how, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma. So he's talking about, furthermore, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the Dhamma in 5 skandhas. Okay, first we saw about the 5 hindrances. Here we are observing the Dhamma in 5 skandhas. And how? O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing Dhamma in 5 skandhas. There is the case where a monk knows. Such is form. Such is how it appeared. Such is how it ceased. Such is the feeling. Such is how it appeared. Such is how it ceased. Such is thinking. Such is how it appeared. Such is how it ceased. Such is the action. Such is how it appeared. Such is how it ceased. Such is consciousness. Such is how it appeared. Such is how it ceased. Just so, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the Dhamma in 5 skandhas. Now the 5 skandhas are, we studied the Heart Sutra also. If people have missed on that session, you should go back to the Heart Sutra, which talks about the basic nature of all the 5 skandhas. They are basically empty in nature, the shunya in nature. That's where Avalokiteshvara, in deep contemplation, actually realizes that all the five skandhas, the rupa, the vedana, the saudhnya, the sanskara, the vijnana, the form, the feeling, the saudhnya, that means your concepts, your ideas, of thinking, then your action, and also your basically consciousness, vijnana. Vijnana means consciousness. V means special, gyan means knowledge. So you start having that special knowledge about things, about your own self, awareness. It's not awareness, basically it's consciousness. Okay, so something that can act, we say has consciousness. So something that responds, we say has consciousness. Like a thing lying dead, we just try to poke and see if it is conscious, it is alive. Somebody can be dozed off completely. We just say, he's not, even I'm pricking, he's not dead, but I'm pricking him, he's not waking up. So what we say, he's unconscious. Okay, he's not dead. Okay, so dead and unconsciousness are two different things. So similarly, consciousness and awareness are two different things. So here we are talking about consciousness, and consciousness goes into skandha. So here, how he's saying, how do you observe the Dhamma in the five skandhas? There is a way he said. You observe, when you observe the form, the rupa, you know that the rupa has come. Okay, it is formed. Then you know it appeared. That means when it was formed, it appeared. Then it actually started to disintegrate. Then it disappeared. So you've seen things rise, they remain, and then they disintegrate and they go away. And this is exactly when you practice Sunya, you realize that when you have a itching here, we say don't do anything, no movement at all, because we let you experience that there is something that is coming, then it will remain there for some time, and then it will go away. Then you will see there was an itching here, but you did not do anything, the itching has gone and it's gone here. If something else comes out, something else, then you can have a pain. Pain comes, it remains for some time, then goes away. So this is how you see the form. You see basically the feeling, exactly like feelings come, okay, they appear and they cease. Then you see the thinking, you see how it appears, the thoughts, they come, because when you see when you're counting and you miss because the thought came in, you saw the thought came in and then it appeared in front of you, you know what thought came in. But you know that because it distracted you from doing something. And that is why you can see it coming, you know it appeared, and you know that when you went back to counting, it disappeared. So exactly like that, you see action. Action, it appeared, okay, and it then automatically was there for some time and then it disappeared. Okay, so because acts are always happening, you know. I lift this pen up, it is now I lifted, but the action again, when I keep it down, it's over. So action is done and it gets over. So everything comes, sustains for some time and then disintegrates or finishes off or ceases. So this is how you observe the 5 skandhas. Okay, the detailed one you can get to understand the 5 skandhas is in the Heart Sutra. But in simple language, if you have to make this to understand what are 5 skandhas and how to observe them, is basically to observe that every phenomena that we are talking about, the nama, the rupa, the vedana, the saudhnya, the sanskara, the vijnana, all those things, they will all come, they will sustain, and then they will cease to exist. Okay. Moving on, then the other part of the Dhamma, we also look at the 6 senses, because these senses are very important through which you interact and experience this world. Furthermore, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the Dhamma in 6 internal senses and external sense objects. And how, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the Dhamma in 6 internal senses and external sense objects. Okay, when we say indriya, senses are called as the indriya. Indriya, we have sukshma indriya, okay, and we have the sthula indriya. The sukshma indriya are something that is internal. The one that are sthula are outside, like the eyes are the organ, but there is an eyesight that helps you to see, the retina, you can say the optic nerve, then the center in the brain where you perceive images. So maybe a person can have an eye but have no eyesight. Okay, so that is possible. So these are two things, and they need to work in sync for a person to experience something called visualization. So here we are talking about monk focuses on the Dhamma and observing the Dhamma in 6 internal senses. Now all these internal senses, he should understand that this is an internal sense of my 6 sense organs, and that is an external sense object. And they are two different things. And how a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing this Dhamma in 6 internal external sense objects, that is this case. Now he is giving an example where a monk knows this is the eyes and this is the form. This is the bond that arises due to both. Very important. Now he is talking about, first there are two. There is an object, okay, and that object is visualized by these eyes, okay, which is basically now going to act as a subject. Now these two are separate, but there is something that binds them and gives us an experience. And he knows all the three. He knows that as an object, he knows this as an eye, and he knows there is something that connects it together. And that thing is also important, because there can be an object, there can be an eye, and the person cannot see because he is blind. Okay, but there is something that connects it. He knows how the bond has appeared. He knows when that had happened. When he looked at the object, he knows that when he looked at the object, he got the eyes to see it. He knows that that is when the image was cropped in his mind. He could see that. He knows how the bond has ceased. He knows when he can actually seize the bond. The bond has gone away. When he has looked here, he knows now he doesn't see that. It's gone away. And he knows there is no further appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. So when he's seen this, he can see the camera. For now, when I look at the camera, I see the camera. I see the eyes that can see the camera. Okay. Now you say, how can I see my eyes seeing the camera? Because I know there are eyes that can see the camera. But I can actually also see the eyes looking at the camera because of my internal faculty. That I know that my eyes is looking at the camera, and I can see the camera and the eyes together, and I can see it very clearly. So when I look here now, I don't see the camera, but I know I can see the wall. I can see the wall. I can look at my eyes looking at the wall. I can see that whole thing together. I can see all the three, but I also know that I don't see the camera anymore. Camera is not there in the picture anymore. It does not exist. It is ceased to exist there. Okay, because my action changed. So this is what they are trying, he said here. And he knows there is no further appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. The bond that was there, that has been abandoned, a new bond has been tied. So this bond is gone. Okay, like Tarzan swinging on one swing. When he swings, when he lets go of this, he holds on to the other one. He knows that I have let go of this. Then he holds another swing. Then he lets go of that and he holds another one. That is how we move from moment to moment in our life. Okay. The problem is the people who don't know this. They don't know how to let go. You know, that is why we teach in Sunya. Why do we teach? 9, 8, 7. We are teaching them how they have to let go of the bond that connects that particular action. Okay. So where a monk knows this is the ear. Okay, we finished the eyes now. He's talking about the second sense organ, the ears. Where a monk knows this is the ear, this is the sound. He knows this is the ear and there is a sound that is coming. This is the bond that arises due to both. I can hear it, you know. You see, when you go to a doctor who's doing your audiometry test, he will say, hello, he'll check your ears. Ears are okay. Now, can you hear the sound? He's ringing the bell. You have to know, yeah, I can hear. Or, I don't hear. You know you can hear is only because when there is a bond. And that is what, you know, it's being stressed here, that you can sense that bond also. He knows how the bond has appeared. He knows how the bond has ceased. He knows there is no further appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. So something that he does not want to listen, he knows that he is not going to listen to that. So till that point, he's aware of that particular ear, that's the sense organ, and the sound, that's the object of the sense organ. Where a monk knows this is the nose and this is the odor, this is the bond that arises due to both. He knows how the bond has appeared, he knows how the bond has ceased, and he knows there is no further appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. Same with the nose also. When he smells, he knows this is the nose and I'm smelling through the nose. So he takes a rose. You can never say that you take a rose and put it in your ear and smell. You know that you need this nose only to smell. So you smell through the nose. You know that it is a rose smell. You can sense the rose smell. Then you have something else. Maybe you have another plant. Maybe a plant which has a different smell. Maybe it's saffron that you're smelling. And you know that this is saffron. Again with the same nose. And you have abandoned the rose smell. And you now experience the saffron smell, and that is why you are able to say that this is saffron smell. So somebody whose eyes are closed and you're doing this test, he can say, okay, rose, saffron, mogra. He keeps on telling all those things. Why? Because he knows that this is the smell, this is the nose, and he knows the bond between that. And he also knows that when the rose smell was taken away, the new smell that came in was what it was. And he knows that when that was taken away, the new smell that will come. So the awareness goes to that level. Okay, very, very important. Where a monk knows this is the tongue, this is the taste. This is the bond that arises due to both. He knows how the bond has appeared. He knows how the bond has ceased. And he knows there is no further appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. Where a monk knows this is the body and this is the touch. This is the bond that arises due to both. He knows how the bond has appeared. He knows how the bond has ceased. He knows there is no further appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. Very, very important. Okay. Now, he's talking about the taste also. Okay. People are addicted because they don't let go of this bond. When they eat something, they carry that taste lifelong. And that is why the craving keeps on coming again and again. If they had the awareness that this is what I ate and it was horrible and I did not like it. Okay. But next time he gets it, even if he looks at it, he says, I don't want, because he still carries the taste. He has not abandoned the taste. So this is all about awareness. So because he does not like it, he does not attempt it second time. On the other side, he likes something, he gets hooked up to the taste, the thing has gone, and he still, when he looks at it, he again is not let go of the bond. And he still likes to have that taste. So he again falls into the trap of addiction. So here comes a very important lesson, that with awareness, you experience things as it is, but you also let go of that. You know that you have abandoned it and it does not exist anymore. This is how you let go of your cravings. This is how you let go of your hatred. This is of your dislikes, everything, you know. Then body. When you know that this is a touch, this is a feeling, this touch has aroused this kind of feeling. You know that when somebody touches. So you know this is the body. Okay, and there are parts of the body which when you touch, they have different feelings. So when we know that this particular part of the body has touched and this particular feeling has arisen, now with this, either you have liking or disliking. Okay, and this is exactly, some people go through a trauma all their life. If they have been molested at a very early age in their life, they carry that touch feeling all through their life and they suffer till the end because they don't know that there was no appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. It does not exist. There is nothing for you to hold on to. There is no touch. Okay. So when you give them, close their eyes and they are touched on that particular part that caused trauma, say around 20, 30, 40 years back. When you close their eyes and touch them, they get scared. They go through the same experience that they went 40 years back because they have not cultivated the awareness that it was there, it was then, it happened that time, and it does not exist now. So very, very important when you become a therapist, when you become a guide to people, when you practice Sunya and teach people Sunya, you will come across people who are attached to all these things. And then you will realize why Satipatthana Sutta is such an important sutta for all the psychotherapists, all the psychologists, all the counselors, the psychiatrists, even physicians, even as parents, even as friends. It becomes a very important guide to help people actually release themselves, purify themselves of all the karmic connections. Okay. So very, very important. Where a monk knows this is the mind. Okay, see how he's moving out from the five senses even to the sixth sense, the mind. This is the thinking. Now the subject of the mind is thinking. This is the bond that arises because of both. Okay. Actually, the mind you cannot see and thoughts you cannot see. But we know there is a mind that is thinking. And the only thing is we should also know that there is a bond that binds them together. Then you see these three things together, that these three things lie separate from each other. There is a mind, there is a thought, and there is a way in which this mind is thinking. When you know this, then you know that this is a thought, I don't want this thought. I want another thought. So you create this thing. You can connect and you can disconnect. So you see further he goes on. He knows how the bond has appeared. He knows this thought came in my mind and the bond has appeared. He knows how the bond has ceased. He knows how to seize the bond. Especially when you're practicing 9 to 0, you know the thought came in and your mind got distracted. And you say, no. Let the thought, I need to again focus my mind on my counting. You for the first time experience the mind, you experience the thought, and you also know when it came and you know when it ceased. This is the most important part of the Satipatthana Sutta that goes along with our Sunya practice, because this is the key, the heart of the Satipatthana. How? Because it's the mind that we are talking about. And he knows there is no further appearance of the bond that has been abandoned. So when he has let go of the thought, he realizes for the first time when he's practicing Sunya that even that thought that went does not exist. The mind does exist. His mind is looking into its counting, but the thought that was binding it has gone. Like the camera, when I was looking at this wall, does not exist. Similarly, the thought that was disturbing my count from 9 to 8, 8 to 7, when it came, when I let go of it, it did not come back again. It went until I go back again to that thought. Okay, so it is very important that this is how you purify your senses. Thus, he focuses on Dhamma, observing Dhamma internally. Okay, he focuses on Dhamma, observing Dhamma externally. He focuses on Dhamma, observing Dhamma internally and externally. Or he focuses on Dhamma and observing the arising of Dhamma. He focuses on the Dhamma and observes the cessation of the Dhamma. Or else he observes the Dhamma as it is, only so far as sufficient for the insight and attention on Dhamma. This point should be underlined, okay? Only so far as sufficient for the insight and attention on the Dhamma. He does not force himself to understand or observe the Dhamma. He only exerts sufficiently to have the insight and attention on the Dhamma. He focuses without attachment and not clinging to anything from this world. Okay, this world keeps on giving us so many things. It gives us this rupa, it gives us the feelings, it gives us, the awareness, so many things it keeps on giving. But he engages with them without attachment and not clinging to anything from this world. Just so, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the Dhamma in the 6 senses. So it's very clear here, okay? If you all have any questions during this teaching session in any moment, you don't need to wait till the end. If you all have any questions, you should ask at that very moment, okay? So here, until now, Dhruv, any questions? Okay, no questions. So we go on, okay? So I think it's very clear here. He focuses on the Dhamma and observes the cessation of the Dhamma, or else he just observes the Dhamma as it is. Only so far as sufficient for the insight and attention on the Dhamma, he focuses without attachment and not clinging to anything from this world. Just so a monk focuses on Dhamma, observing the Dhamma in 6 senses. Now, that means when you look at phenomena, you observe them, their arising, their association with its subject-object, and its, you can say, the ceasing away or the going away of it. That is how you cultivate detachment. And that's where Sunya is actually a practice of cultivating detachment. You have heard people saying, just let go, just detach yourself. Saying is easy, Doing is the most difficult part. So it's not easy to let go. It's not easy to detach until you have developed the skill to do that. And Shunya is that practice where you develop the skill of detachment, of letting go. And that's why we keep on telling you all, practice your red belt. Red belt is your primary step towards detachment. 9 to 0, 29 to 0, 99 to 0. One day you will develop such a great skill of detachment that you will never be affected from this world because you will never be attached. And that is a natural skill that should come automatically, not by forcing. When somebody, there are things, when a flower let goes to become a fruit, it doesn't struggle. Have you ever seen a flower struggling to become a fruit or putting an effort? No. But you look at people, they want to achieve prosperity. They want to achieve peace. They put in so much effort. The whole process of putting that kind of effort, that extra effort of forcing yourself is not going to give you the result. You cannot force a flower to become a fruit. It is a natural process. Similarly, exerting sufficiently, practicing the art and the skill of Shunya will give you the power to actually learn the art of detachment, the art of letting go, which will empower you to engage with this illusory world wherein you can achieve whatever you want to. You can become prosperous how much ever you want to. You can all become Jambalas. Jambalas are the lords of wealth who have so much wealth. They can just keep on giving everybody. Imagine, you're digging something behind your house. People around you are thirsty and you don't know what to do. You have little water, you survive yourself. But one day you decide, I dig behind my house, there is something I feel. And you keep on digging and you have a well. Now this well keeps on giving you water, so much water, that even if you give everybody, the water doesn't seem to end. It keeps on filling itself up. That's how you should become prosperous in your life. You can do that, and it is possible to do that, because even if you look at Dr. Lim, one of our perfect examples of our teacher and guide, who has actually done that, who has created a system, a well that keeps on, churning out so much wealth that he can transform the world. So that's exactly what we have to become. Maybe through the same system, maybe through DXN, maybe through any other activity you're doing in your life. Maybe you're a physician. You can do that with your skill set of healing. Maybe you're a teacher. You can do that with your skill set of teaching. So many opportunities to contribute in this world and give this world so much more beyond that you can even imagine. And that is only possible through the art of detachment, the art of let go, never ever to suffer, being the purified self, okay, that we are truly. So, 7 factors of enlightenment. Now, everything is for what? We are all saying, because for us, Buddha means, when you say Buddha, the enlightened being. Now, what is enlightenment? And what are the factors? So, here beautifully it is put in the Satipatthana Sutta, the 7 factors of enlightenment. Furthermore, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the 7 factors of enlightenment. And how, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the 7 factors of enlightenment. Here, I would like to tell you all again, when he's saying he focuses on Dhamma, means he focuses on Dhamma. Dhamma means something arising, something sustaining, and something ceasing. So, we say the Utpatti, that is the Alaya, then we say the sustenance, that is the Laya, and then the destruction, that is the Pralaya. So, Alaya, Laya, and Pralaya, these are the way the whole universe works. That is Dhamma. We also in Indian system, we say the Brahma. The Brahma means the thing that manifests. Then there is the creator, who basically is Brahma. Then there is the operator. So there is generator, G, that's Brahma. Then we have the operator, that is the Vishnu, who makes sure everything works right. Then even after he's doing all effort, the end Shiva does come and everything is destroyed also. So generator, the operator, and the destroyer. That's how they came up the word God, God. So that's everything. So we say everything is manifesting, it sustains, and it destroys itself. Okay, just a little more to add on how you look at the Dhamma. You focus on the Dhamma as something that is ever changing. That's nothing that is fixed. Okay. Observing the 7 factors of enlightenment. Here, O monks, a monk observes the factor of awakening inwardly, and he knows this is the awakening factor. A monk observes there is no factor of awakening, and he knows there is no factor of awakening. He knows in what way the factor of awakening has appeared. He knows in what way the factor of awakening developed and ceased. Similar pattern. You see, coming, he knows that. Sustaining, he knows that. Ceasing, he knows that. So the factor of awakening, he knows that this is the factor of awakening that has come. He knows that this is the factor of awakening that has not come. He knows that. And because he is aware of these subtle things, he is able to actually cultivate and understand the Dhamma. Okay, that is how he observes the Dhamma. Then the factor of investigation. Okay, here, O monk, a monk observes the factor of investigation inwardly. He knows this is the factor of investigation inwardly. He observes, a monk observes that there is no factor of investigation. He knows there is no factor of investigation. He knows in what way the factor of investigation has appeared. He knows in what way the factor of investigation developed and ceased. Now, here we are talking about the factors of enlightenment. So now you have to look at these small experiences. When you practice Sunya, you will realize there is a kind of an experience that you will have. I would not say a feeling. It's an experience you will have. That this experience you are having, it is coming, it is sustaining, and it's going. And you're looking and observing. There is a kind of investigation you're doing. It is there to be done. Sometimes there is no factor for investigation. Absolutely nothing. For example, you're sitting and you have pain in your right leg. You go there. When you're scanning, you investigate. Why? You're just observing with your mind. You're looking at it and you see, oh, this pain has come. Oh, it is now sustained there for some point. Now it is gone away. This investigation factor, because there is pain, you are investigating. If there is no pain, you are not investigating, and you are aware of it. That's how you observe you know that the factor of investigation has developed and ceased. So this is how you observe the Dhamma of your enlightenment. Factor of energy. Here, O monks, a monk observes the factor of energy inwardly. He observes the factor. He knows this is the factor of energy inwardly. A monk observes there is no factor of energy. He knows there is no factor of energy. He knows in what way the factor of energy has appeared. He knows in what way the factor of energy developed and ceased. Now, first was the awakening, the experiencing of itself. The first one was the factor of awakening. Yeah. Then the second one was investigation. And the third one is inner energy. Now, you understand these are the factors of enlightenment. When you practice Shunya, you will realize you started to see something clearly. You know that. You started to investigate something. You developed the skill of investigation. Then you started to experience a kind of energy build up within yourself, and you know that it is coming up. The same happens with the factor of joy. You start experiencing kind of joy when you practice Shunya. So here he is saying again, here, O monks, a monk observes the factor of joy inwardly, and he knows the factor of joy inwardly. A monk observes there is no factor of joy. He knows there is no factor of joy. He knows in what way the factor of joy has appeared. He knows in what way the factor of joy developed and ceased. Even that feeling of joy when you practice Shunya, you know when it comes, you know when it does not come. You know when it actually appeared, you know when it ceased to appear. So, that's another factor of enlightenment. Okay, in the 7 factors of enlightenment. The factor of tranquility, a kind of peace, a state of, unexplainable peace. Here, O monks, a monk observes the factor of tranquility, and he knows this is the factor of tranquility inwardly. So when it comes that he experiences this kind of peace, he understands, oh, this is bliss, this is tranquility that I'm experiencing. He knows that. He knows when it comes. He observes there is no factor of tranquility. So when he's not experiencing it, he says, I've been practicing, but I'm not experiencing it. He knows that. So experiencing it and not experiencing, both way he knows. So when you are able to focus your mind, when you're counting, You know that you're focusing your mind. When you're not able to focus your mind, you know you're not able to focus your mind. Both ways, you're still cultivating one common thing, that is awareness. You understand? So, whatever you do, if you're able to focus, you're not able to focus. If you're experiencing joy, you're not experiencing joy. If you're experiencing tranquility, not experiencing tranquility. When you're experiencing investigation, or you're experiencing no investigation. When you're experiencing the factor of enlightenment, or not experiencing the factor of enlightenment. In all those things, there is one thing that is common for sure, that you have developed the awareness to see things come, see things appear, see things sustain, and see the things that cease. That is exactly what we are trying to learn here from this. So the fifth factor of tranquility. Then factor of concentration. Here, O monks, a monk observes the factor of concentration inwardly, and he knows this is the factor of concentration inwardly. A monk observes there is no factor of concentration. He knows there is no factor of concentration. He knows in what way the factor of concentration has appeared, and he knows in what way the factor of concentration developed and ceased. Even concentration, he knows that when it appears is, when it does not appear. He knows when it actually, what causes it to appear. He knows what causes it to cease. He knows that very, very clearly. And the factor of equanimity. Now, here, O monks, a monk observes the factor of equanimity inwardly. He knows this is the factor of equanimity inwardly. A monk observes there is no factor of equanimity. He knows there is no factor of equanimity. He knows in what way the factor of equanimity has appeared. He knows in what way the factor of investigation developed and ceased. Even equanimity, many a times, we are dealing with this world in a dualistic way. With the practice of Sunya, we realize there is no true self. When you are observing the breath, okay, you observe and you see the breath as a separate self. After some time, you see no breath. Actually, there is no two things, it is all one single act. And you realize, oh, this was all together one thing. That equanimity, when it appears to you. You know when it does not appear to you. You know what causes it to appear. You know what causes it to cease. You can sense all this. So these are the 7 factors through which you, of enlightenment, that you observe as Dhamma. And focusing on that. Thus, he focuses on Dhamma. Observing Dhamma internally, he focuses on Dhamma. Observing the Dhamma externally, he focuses on the Dhamma. Observing the Dhamma internally and externally. So what you're doing, basically, you're using the idea of seeing things appear, sustain, and cease. And you look at everything, all the things, and that is how you observe the Dhamma. Okay, the 4th foundation. Or he focuses on Dhamma and observing the appearance of Dhamma. He focuses on Dhamma and observes the cessation of Dhamma. Or else he just observes the Dhamma as it is so. Only so far as sufficient for the insight and attention of Dhamma. He focuses without attachment and not clinging on anything from this world. Just so, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the Dhamma in 7 factors of enlightenment. Even those 7 factors of enlightenment that you study, the joy, the tranquility, all those things, they will be observed when you are observing Dhamma as it is. Okay, this is what it is said in observing the 7 factors of enlightenment. You see how it's progressing, we are able to now see how you're observing the Dhamma. We saw the 5 hindrances. We saw the 5 skandhas. We saw the 6 senses. We also saw the 7 factors of enlightenment. And now we go to the most important one, the 4 noble truths. Furthermore, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing the 4 noble truths. And how, O monks, a monk focuses on the Dhamma and observing the 4 noble truths? Here, O monks, a monk observes the suffering and he knows this is suffering as it is. He knows how suffering has appeared. He knows in what way the suffering has developed, and then he sees. Dhamma has to be observed in the form it appears, in the form it sustains. Okay, he knows how it is appeared and then how it ceased. Because everything is in a flux. So, when you are sure that when you observe suffering, any kind of suffering of a loss of a loved one, suffering of a loss of something that you need and you don't have it, something that is actually worrying you, you know that it has arisen, it is going to sustain, and one day it is going to go away. If you know that, you know how powerful you can become. You can assure anybody anything that what condition you're right now is going to change in the next year, because that is what exactly is going to happen. And those people are going to believe you and say, oh, how do you know? It just changed. My life just changed for good. Because that is what is the nature of things. That is the Dhamma. So suffering, how do you observe the suffering? Suffering, you see the suffering as it is, the arising of it, the sustaining of it, and the cessation of it. The cause of the suffering. Here, O monks, a monk observes the cause of the suffering and knows this is the cause of suffering as it is. He knows that how the cause of suffering has appeared. He knows how it appeared. Okay, now he comes automatically the factor of enlightenment, where investigation is one of the important things, So he knows in what way the cause of suffering has developed and then ceased. He knows that this was the cause. I was suffering. I had financial problems. I knew because I was not able to work properly in the field I wanted to work. I did not have a job. Then he takes up a good job. Then he sees his problem, his suffering is now ceased to suffer. So the cause, he's changed the cause. Where he was not having a job, he has a job. And this job has changed everything. So he can see that, and he clearly knows how it was the problem, how it was solved as a problem, and how it ceased. Now there is no more problem. End of suffering. Here a monk observes the end of suffering, and he knows this is the end of suffering as it is. First he observed the suffering, then he knew the cause of the suffering. Now the third noble truth is the end of the suffering. He knows how the end of suffering has appeared. He knows in what way the end of suffering has appeared, developed, and then ceased. He knows that. When the thing was formed, he knew. When the cause for forming, he knew. He also knew how that forming was ceased to form. He knew that there was an end of suffering. He's just observing that. Then finally, he also now has learned the way to end the suffering, the fourth noble truth. Okay? Here, O monks, a monk observes the way to end the suffering. Now he has learned it because he's passed through three phases of the noble truth. He knew there is this suffering and there has to be a cause to this suffering. That is, first is there is suffering. Okay? There is a problem. You should know that. Then there has to be a cause to this problem. If there is a cause to this problem, there has to be a way to end the cause of this problem. And by the time he realizes these three, he now knows there is a methodology, there is a way in which you can actually now program yourself so that there is no more suffering. So he knows. Here a monk observes the way to end the suffering, and he knows this is the way to end the suffering as it is. He knows how to end the suffering has appeared. He knows the ways to end the suffering and has developed and ceased. Thus he focuses on the Dhamma, observing Dhamma internally. He focuses on Dhamma, observing Dhamma externally. He focuses on Dhamma, observing Dhamma internally and externally. Or he focuses on Dhamma and observing the appearance of the Dhamma. He focuses on Dhamma and observes the cessation of Dhamma. Or else he just observes the Dhamma as it is. Only so far sufficient for the insight and attention on Dhamma. He focuses without attachment and not clinging to anything from this world. Just so, O monks, a monk focuses on Dhamma and observing Dhamma in the noble truth of suffering. A monk focuses on Dhamma and observes Dhamma as it is in the noble truth of cause of suffering. A monk focuses on Dhamma and observes Dhamma as it is in the noble truth of the end of suffering. A monk focuses on Dhamma and observes Dhamma as it is in the noble truth of the way to end suffering. You see, even the four noble truths, he observes them when he practices. So as you advance now from the blue belt, onwards, we are going to start this. That's why I have now started to teach, because when you go and you let go of your counting, you let go of your double counts and all those things, and you also finish off your scanning and everything is okay, when you have crossed that stage and now you're in a state of complete neutrality and you're observing the phenomenal nature, the principles, the laws that govern it, you start observing Dhamma. And that is how you observe the Dhamma, is what is being told here. On those different factors of enlightenment or the four noble truths or the skandhas. And when you contemplate that, you can see the true nature of all these things, and you'll realize everything is nothing but shunya, emptiness. Okay, emptiness means not nihilism or not something that is void of something. It means it is not fixed in nature. Everything is a flux. It appears, it sustains, and then it ceases. And when you realize this truth, the ultimate truth, you know the Four Noble Truths, that there is this suffering that I see, there has to be the cause to this suffering to come into being, then there is a way. If there is a cause, you can actually change the cause, and you can change that suffering into happiness. You can change that suffering into pleasure. You can change that when you change the cause. Okay. Once you know that, now you know the technique to do that. You set up the conditions and the path on which there is no more suffering. So you know that. So let's go to the conclusion of the Satipatthana Sutta. Okay. Verily, monks, whosoever practices these four foundations of sati in this manner, okay, whosoever practices these four foundations of the sati. Which are the four foundations? Body, feelings, mind, and dhamma. Okay, whosoever practices these four foundations of sati in this manner, in the manner that has been taught in the Satipatthana Sutta, okay, through cultivating awareness for 7 years, then one of these two fruits may be expected by him. Now here is the result that he is talking about. Even 7 years if you practice, what two fruits can be expected of him? Highest knowledge of arahantship is here and now. The highest knowledge of being an arahant, okay, is here and now. He achieves that if he practices this kind of awareness. Or if some remainder of attachment is yet present. Now arahant is one who is already on the path of Buddhahood. Okay, that's the first step, the arahant. Okay, now highest knowledge of arahantship, he's already entered, he's taken admission, his college is fixed, he's going to graduate as a Buddha for sure. He is guaranteed. That's what he's saying, you know, these fruits. Two fruits he's saying. The first one can be expected. Now, can you imagine the sutta that says should not have expectation, but because he practices for 7 years, according to this sutra, these four foundations, what can be expected from this? Because something like this will definitely fruit. He will give you something in return. So what that, you remember the first sentence that it started was, this is the only way for purification of all beings. Now after you're purified, then what? You have nothing? No. Here there are two fruits that can be expected. One, the highest knowledge of arahantship is here and now. Or if some remainder of attachment is yet present, if there is something still present, the state of non-returning, O monks, let alone 7 years. Even if there is something left, the state of non-returning, not coming back in the loop. It's like you take gold, you know, from this river bed. You see it's with so much of sand, dust and everything, you know, all the impurities. Then you clean it up, you wash it up, the first level. Then you clean it up, you again try second level. Then you still see that still impurities in the, that is all the stones and everything have gone. But the gold is still not the 100% gold, it still carries impurity. Then you take it and put it in the furnace, you heat it up, you purify it, one level, second level, third level. To the point, now you have 100% gold, which does not need any other process of purification. Similarly, when you practice these four foundations, you are a purified being. Even if there is some tinge of impurity remained, okay, it is said that the state of non-returning, O monks, you will still not go back to that stage where you will have to be again put into the sieve to be flushed. You will not go to that stage. You will go to the only and only the superior stage of purification. Let alone 7 years. Now here comes the magic. First he said, if somebody practices these four foundations for 7 years. Now let alone 7 years. Should anyone practice these four foundations of sati in this manner for 6 years? Now Buddha is being more compassionate and he's saying 7 years, okay? If you practice this for 7 years, this is what two fruits you can expect. The one is the highest knowledge of arahantship, okay? That means you have now been admitted to the university where you will become a Buddha. For sure, admission done. Second is you will never return back into that ignorant state again. Never. So these two fruits. But he's now tempting us. He's saying 7 years you have to practice, okay? Then he says, no, let alone 7 years. Should any person practice these 4 foundations of sati in this manner for 6 years? Now 7 becomes 6. He says, forget 6 years. Let's say 5 years. He's saying, okay, forget 5 years. Even if somebody practices for 4 years, he says, oh monks, okay, 3 years. Okay, forget, he says 2 years. Even if somebody practices for 1 year, come on. Now he's being the most compassionate. He's saying 7 years first, 2 fruits. Now he's saying, bog down to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 year. He's saying even 1 year if somebody practices like this, then one of these two fruits, with 7 years, 2 fruits guaranteed. But even below that, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, even 1 year, one of these fruits may be expected by him. Highest knowledge of arahantship is here and now, or if some remainder of attachment is yet present, the state of non-returning. Even if there is something remaining, the non-returning is there. Oh monks, again now, this is the way Buddha teaches, He's saying, oh monks, let alone 1 year. Now forget 1 year. First he started with 7 years, brought it down to 1 year. Now he's saying, let alone 1 year. Should any person practice these foundations of mindfulness in this manner for 7 months? Now he's dealing 7 months. 6 months. Okay, let's say, forget 6 months, 5 months. Okay, 4 months, 3 months. Guys, come on, 2 months. Okay, 1 month. How is that? Imagine the monks would be super happy. Oh, 1 month I can do, He said, forget 1 month. Half a month. Then one of these 2 fruits may be expected by him. You see, from 7 years to half a month, okay, that's how he brought the scattered thoughts to focus. That's how, on one side, it is the most difficult thing that it will take 7 years for you to do that. On the other side, it's so easy that you can finish it up in 15 days. Okay, what are the tools? The highest knowledge of arahantship is here and now, or if some remainder of attachment is yet present, the state of non-returning. Oh monks, let alone half a month. Now this is getting very, very focused. He's saying, forget half a month. 15 days is still too long, right? He says, should any person practice these 4 foundations of mindfulness in this manner for 7 days? Now the guy from years came down to months. Now Buddha is coming down to days. Okay? He says, in this manner, 7 days you practice. Only according to this. Forget 7 days. 6 days? Can you do that? Forget 6 days. 5 days? 4 days? 3 days? 2 days? 1 day. Can you practice? Then one of these 2 fruits may be expected by him. It depends on you, because this is not an achievement with time. It's your faith. When you do it even 1 day with the 100% faith, that's what we do in Sunya. When we sit, that 1 day of practice of Sunya, your 2 fruits, one of them is guaranteed to you. Highest knowledge of arahantship is here and now. That means 1 day for sure you are going to have peace and prosperity, for sure. Okay? Or if some remainder of attachment is yet present and state of non-returning, you, after you practice even 1 day of Sunya, of the 4 foundations of sati, as per the Satipatthana, you will never ever return back to that stage of impurity again that was causing all the suffering. You're free from it. And he assures this, that this is the only way for the purification of all beings. Wow. That is how the climax. You can imagine how jubilant the monks would have been, who were sitting there. Come on, 7, you see, they are all businessmen, all they're doing trade. Trade gets excited when you talk. Okay, 100 rupee, $100, $100. Okay, I give you at 90, you want to take. Okay, 80, 60, 50. Okay, this is coming for $1. People will come to flock and buy. That's exactly what the deal he did in the marketplace. He said 7 years, come on, 7 years, 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. Forget years, months. Are you ready to do this for months? Okay, we do for 7 months, 6 months, went down to even 1 month. Okay, forget months, days. Are you ready to do that? Even 1 day is enough. You see, this is exactly is a skillful means. Now that means if I practice one day of Sunya, I have not lost anything. I have moved up to a purified state. The next step of my own version, my purified version. How, if you actually do that for 7 years, what will happen? You can imagine. So on one side, he's saying that one day, yes, you're purified from what you were a day before. Today, after the practice of Sunya, you are purified. Because of this, it was said, this is the only way. Okay, now here it is saying, because of this it was said, this is the only way, monks, for the purification of beings, for overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, for the destruction of suffering and grief, for reaching the right path, for the attainment of Nibbāna, namely the 4 foundations of Sati. Now here he is telling very, very clearly. Okay, he started the whole Satipatthana Sutta with that saying that this is the only way. Okay, for what? For purification of beings. Because only when the person is purified, there is the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation or suffering. For the destruction of suffering and grief. And for reaching the right path. For the attainment of Nibbāna, that's Nirvana. Okay, namely the 4 foundations of Sati. So the whole sutra started with that statement and it ends with the statement. Everything is in the process is just a learning. When you want to become a doctor, you go and take admission. I want to become a doctor. Then you go. At the end of your 5-year course, the certificate comes and says, now you have become a doctor. All the 5 years of process you have to complete. So what you start with, you end with. So when you started life, you put an expectation from your life. You wanted to be super rich. You wanted to be super happy. You want to be the provider for the family. When you set yourself for that path, you have to actually achieve it. And that can be achieved only and only from a purified being. Only and only from a person who is pure. And that purification is a must for you to achieve all your desires in the fullest form as it should be. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay, this is why we say Sunya is the art of self-purification. Self-purification from doubt, from worry, from anxiety, from all the baggage that you have been carrying of grief, of suffering, of all the negatives that you're loaded with, all the jealousy, the hatred, and you achieve your own pure state. The pure state of positivity, your pure state of success, of happiness, of bliss, of satisfaction, of abundance. That is why we say Sunya is the practice for peace through prosperity. And that is why the only way through prosperity is to purify yourself. And when you practice your 9 to 0, if 99 to 0 you are able to do without a tinge of losing focus, without getting distracted, I assure you, you're already on the path of achieving that purified state of yours, that all of your things that you ever wanted are just about to be fulfilled. So, thus spoke the blessed one. Okay, we call blessed one is the Bhagavan. Thus spoke the blessed one, satisfied, the monks approved and delighted in his word. And that's how it would have been. I'm sure at that end moment, everybody would have applauded and happy and going good that they have been given the way, the path, the 4 foundations of Sati. And that's how beautiful this Satipatthana Sutta is. And it was a pleasure for me to study this with you, because very honestly, I understood it only and only by teaching y'all, studying with y'all. And it has been amazing awakening for me too. And I hope you all also understood and learned something from this. And we have almost crossed a lot of time. How much we have? But we finished. Okay. So if that brings us to the end of the Satipatthana Sutta talk and study series. And I hope it was a good journey. Maybe at the next time we will go studying it again with a new perspective. Until then, thank you so much and bye-bye.